Hi guys, Ryuu here from Blender Bros, and in this video we're gonna be talking about blockouts. I will show you how to start a blockout, how to come up with an idea, and how to evolve it into something a bit more detailed. So let's get started. Okay, so first of all, I'm gonna be using all add-ons possible. I'm gonna be using Hardups and Box Cutter, Mesh Machine, and Machine Tools. If you would like to learn more about them, I have tons of videos on my YouTube channel. So go ahead and watch them. And now, blockouts are something that a lot of people struggle with. I think everyone struggles with it to a point, to a degree, because, you have to start with an idea, you have to start with something from scratch. But it's really good to, before you actually start with a blockout, first of all, think what you want to do. In this video, we're going to be designing a kind of like a cannon for a ship. So it's going to be suspendable from the wings. So it's going to be a mounting on the top. And, it's going to be quite heavy and bulky. And we will start with a very basic blockout and then just push it towards the mid detail. So now, if you would like to learn a bit more about Hardups and Box Cutter workflow, we have a free course for you. It's a really cool sci-fi terminal course where you're going to learn a lot about tools. It's really easy, it's for beginners, and you're going to teach you how to render your final model, also how to post-process in Photoshop, how to create basically a portfolio ready piece. So if you'd like to learn more about it, there's a link to a free course in the video description. So, first of all, think how you would like to have your cannon or whatever structured. And when you're thinking about it, I would really recommend going online and getting some references. Really good sci-fi games like Star Citizen, or for example, Mass Effect, or other games like Alien Isolation. Another game is the recent one, Ascent, with brilliant, absolutely brilliant artwork. So what you want to do is you want to go ahead, buy these games, play them, and when you play them, take a lot of screenshots. I mean, a fuck ton of screenshots, okay? I got like 4,000 screenshots from Star Citizen, maybe more. So, just screenshot everything and then categorize your screenshots into sections or whatever, like, themes. And then when you need something, you just pull them up and you just look at references and you start sort of triggering your brain into thinking about shapes, ideas, etc. Okay, eventually you're gonna see something in the way I work. I see a shape and I get inspired by it and kind of start building on an idea. But don't get intimidated, start slow. So if you're gonna be building a gun, okay, a cannon, what we need is basically some kind of like a compartment that holds all the electronics and the ammo and all that. And then of course we need a barrel. Okay, so we're gonna add a barrel, right? So cylinder, and let's just add maybe 50 verts here, so it's gonna be a bit dense, and scale it in here and scale it on y-axis and move it somewhere here. Okay, so now this would be a basic, very basic blockout of what we want. Then we're gonna think about the width. Maybe this is a little bit too wide. Maybe we want it to be a bit taller rather than wider. And you can start playing with these shapes. Make it a bit smaller, or maybe a little bit flatter and longer, kind of like that. This kind of like a mount or whatever should be about 1/3 of this entire gun length. So maybe kind of like a stock, like there is a ratio between a stock and a whole gun. Stock usually is 1/3 of the gun. So I would say that if we think about this as a stock, it could be about more or less 1/3 of this whole gun. And this is, this is like a very basic blockout. And then once you do have that, you start kind of shaping things up. So we could grab Box Cutter and Angle and start actually chiseling this away. We can actually make this a bit more narrow and a bit less tall and start cutting this, here. So we could cut it like this, and we could mirror this to the other side with Hardups. And maybe we could actually move it a little bit higher. So here, scale it up and hold Control and rotate it. So it's gonna snap into increments, and maybe rotate it a bit more like this, kind of like a steep, steep sort of, maybe even more, maybe like this. This is kind of interesting. Now if you're not going to be able to see the angles here, what you can do is click Q, sharpen with shift, and move your mouse to the right to change the auto smooth value until it clicks. It's a little bit too high, to be honest, so we could rotate it on the y-axis and could slice it a little bit shorter like this. That's cool. And now, you know, we can start cutting some shapes here in the middle. So we could start cutting some compartments in here. Okay, and maybe like this, maybe going down here like that. So cut this in, and then maybe, you know, cut something in here, in this bit, maybe something like that. Let's extend this a little bit further, so we can actually cut this from the side as well. So let's ever scroll this and expand this and slice it here under, you know, at an angle like that. Boom, right? And maybe slice it here from the top, and then we could slice it here to create some interesting shape on the top as well. Boom. So you're gonna have these two lines here corresponding, sort of, you know, echoing one another. This one should be deeper, but we can create a second part. So shift curve extract and edit in here. We could extend it all the way up here, and we're gonna have two parts. This could be a bit thicker, so, you know, we could thicken it out. Maybe even slice this. So slice it somewhere here with X. The reason why it collapses is because we didn't apply scale, but we can always go to modifiers and solidify it further here. Okay, cool. But now we need to think about some kind of a mount, so we can add another cube and start adding some shape on top of it. So, you know, scale it, move it somewhere here, flatten it, right, and start, you know, thinking like how would we actually, you know, play with this shape here. This one could be also sliced from the top, so we could just grab this and slice it from the top like this. That's cool. And this one could be laying on top, right? So let's narrow it down a bit more maybe, and let's just, you know, expand this here even more, and then we can start cutting in, guys. So for example, we could cut it in here, go in, and maybe create something like this, right? Cut the rest, and we have something like this on top, and this could be our mount. Let's just cut this. Let's just apply this, multiply, and as Shift Y, and make this larger like that. That's cool. Here on the front, we could have another element, and select them both, and we could, you know, cut it here from the side like this. Press B for bevel and cut it through. And in fact, what we could do is let's just recover that for a second. So have a scroll and select the face here and scale this, and scale this on Z, so it kind of chamfers out. That's pretty interesting. We could also change the auto smooth value here to a lower one. Don't overdo it, because you're gonna start flattening all these bevels here. And this one could be mirrored as well across one itself. So like that, and boom, right? And then what we could do, we could have some kind of another element here on the bottom, so another cylinder, and scroll it, rotate it here, scale it, move it down here, scale it some more, and expand it. And we could have some kind of a mechanism here in the front, maybe put some loop in here, split it, and then, you know, expand this as Shift Y, do something like this, and maybe just, you know, apply scale, and boom. And then here we could also insert it a bit and then extrude it. Okay, and here on the side we could have another one, so cylinder and then R, Y90, and scale it, Y90. There we go. And move it somewhere here and scale it on the x-axis. Okay, And now we can find some cool position for it. Maybe somewhere here, or maybe even in the back. This could be interesting. I think this could be interesting. And, you know, let's just create some interesting shapes here. Inside it, so E, and extrude it, and inside it, and then extrude it again, and boom. And we could run some, you know, some cables here to the side. Let's just bevel this as well. Okay. And here on the top, again, we probably need some kind of mounting mechanism very quickly. So let's apply this. Let's maybe bevel these and mirror to the other side with mesh machine. We could also bevel these. Maybe bevel this one first, and then bevel these. Alright, and maybe bevel this one as well. And then we could bevel this one or chamfer it. Like that. Cool. And this one could also be chamfered, so select that, loop select, and just chamfer the loop. But be careful with your bevels because you might overshoot them very easily. Could turn off loop slides to prevent any weird pulls here on the loops, and you're good to go. Cool. And with this one, you know, we could create some new cuts in here like this. So Shift V and View Align Ortho. Run some cuts here with hard ups, mirror to the other side. Mirror this and mirror this one. There we go. And we can sharpen both. And this one in the middle, let's bevel it. Apply with the normals here too. And these ones could be, you know, scaled in. So Shift S to geometry and just scale them in a little bit. So they're gonna be sort of imitating some kind of mounts or whatnot. Okay. So boom, right. Wait a minute. Select this one and cut them through here. Okay, sweet. So, you know, this would be a very basic sort of a block out. And now I can start refining this. So we could start adding some interesting, you know, just mirror to the other side. Let's remove this middle edge so it's gonna be easier to maneuver. Could add some bevels in here and there. Remove this one as well and add some bevels here too. Maybe a bevel as well here. Maybe first let's bevel this one. And then we can bevel the entire bit in here. Or even chamfer this, you know, create like a chamfer. It's gonna be a little bit more mechanical. Here too, we could just bevel this. Right? So bevel it. And bevel this one. Maybe bevel this one as well here, and then click, alt click, and select. And let me see that. And I think we can run the chamfer here too. So just run the chamfer. Cool. This one could be a little bit tight, but I think it's fine. If it's too tight, you can always run the unfuck with mesh machine. So just relax it a little bit here. And copy to the other side, right? Awesome. I mean, you can see more or less we're starting to have some kind of a gun structure to it, which is really cool. We could have some additional supporting mechanism here. So for example, what we could do is grab this ring and we could array it. So let's just apply this operations multiply, right? And then we could array this forward. So press X and array it forward, maybe somewhere here. Right, and we could scale them up like that. That's interesting. This one could be connected here, so like this. scale it, or even scale it more than that, like that. This could be an interesting connection here. This could be sharpened. Boom, right? And we could have a supporting loop here to just, you know, secure this cut here. Boom. And we could have a, you know, split here with the macro and add some bevel to it. Anyway, the normals, you're gonna have some pulls here because of the bevel, but if you have mesh machine, you can always fix this by, or just simply move the vert a little bit this way or the other way. You're gonna be fine. So this one is a little bit close here, so we could just move it outside a bit, and this one could be moved inside, and, you know, Bob's your uncle. You're gonna have a bit of a bending here, but we could fix this always with, you know, with mesh machine. Also, I think sharp needs to be kind of loosened out a little bit. It's too aggressive, so could go either way here, to be honest. Just have to look what works for you. But this could also be fixed with with the normal transfer from mesh machine. I'm not gonna be doing it now because I can't be bothered, but this could be moved in here so we can uncover this really nice bevel here. The array could be shortened, maybe to something like this, or maybe only 3 arrays instead of 4, right? So here, let's borrow this face, and where is it? Borrow this face, and let's remove the array. Let's scale the face a little bit, and let's just extrude it, make it a little bit larger, and then simply, you know, cut through. So difference, right? And you're gonna get these rings around the gun, and then we could create some kind of a support for them. So another cylinder here. Maybe let's just decrease it to 24, make it really small, and, you know, rotate it by 90. So RX 90. Is it on x-axis? I think so. There we go. Just scale this. Let's move it somewhere here. Okay, scale it, and let's expand it on this axis, on Y, so a little bit longer, and move it inside there. Make it a bit bigger. So S Shift Y, make it a bit thicker, and then we can rotate it on cursor. So, you know, switch here to pivot to cursor, and then Shift D R, and move it in here with Control, and then Shift R, and select all 3 of them and mirror to the other side. And you got, you know, this kind of a situation, which is interesting. We could cut them here, so cut them here like this, and cut them on this side as well, so they don't stick. There you go. And you see, very easy, very simple block out. Here we could have some connections, so we could connect this. We could connect these cables here to, or cable. Actually, we could have 2 to this opening here. So make it smaller, right? Make it a bit smaller. So Shift S to Geo, and go to the front and scale it a little bit on individual origins. Move it somewhere here, and, you know, mirror to the other side. Right, scale it a bit more, and then we can run cablerator on this. So here we're gonna press Shift Alt C and draw a cable. Actually, not draw a cable, create a cable. And we're going to select the middle of this face here and run it to the middle of the face here, and scale it. So press S, and we're going to, you know, mirror it. You got 2 cables, and you're gonna they will need some kind of an adjustment, but this is easy. You can just do something like this. There you go. And you got some cables, and you know, very simple block out of a gun. And of course then you can start, you can bring this a bit further, but you can see how easily you can come up with these shapes. And now everything is about refinement, guys. Okay, so this stage is all about refinement. Okay, so for example, let me just remove the booleans here. So let's just remove all the booleans, right? I'm going to apply apply the smart apply. I'm gonna move it inside here like this, right? And I'm gonna create you know, an opening here. So Fi to scale it and insert it, right? And then let's mark this and Control B. Okay, awesome. And here this could be cut as well, so we could have a cut here. And now, you know, now it's all about basically adding details. But for adding details, you can also consult some references and start playing with shapes. Like for example, here we could create some structural piece. So we could grab this face, okay, this entire face, in fact all over it, and we could insert it, okay, like this, right, like that, and extrude it inwards, okay. Or even better, what we could do is borrow this entire face, right, this one, and then we could insert it, right, Control I to invert it, remove the faces, then solidify this, so press 2 to solidify both ways, and then difference, right? And once you have that done, we're gonna have to cut these pipes, by the way. So let me just cut these. Cool. Now let's recover this cutter, because it's a little bit, I think, too deep, because we're showing this element here. So have a scroll and move it outside a little bit, so GX, there we go. And then we can grab an angle and turn off this cyclic, and we can create some really interesting cuts here, like this, okay? See what I mean? Hold on. There we go. We could have one here, and we could have one here, for example. Right, and maybe one here, and boom. And then all you need to do is just bevel this. Now you're gonna have some problems with bevel for sure. We're gonna have some overlappings and stuff, but we can easily fix it. So if I'm going to sharpen this, then we can start cleaning problems. Like here, for example, there is an issue. This edge is way too close, so dissolve it. Here too, this edge is causing problems, you see, this long edge. So what we need to do is simply connect it in here and then remove this one, okay, and solved. And that's how you solve all your problems. This one also causes issues, so we can just simply connect them here, you know, these two, and dissolve this one, and then mirror to the other side. And you got yourself, you know, a block out of a gun, really easy, very quick. And then you can start building on it. So once you have the block out, you can start removing or adding elements. So for example, if you don't like this one and you want something else, like for example, some kind of like a shielding, it's really easy to do, guys, because all you do is you grab these, you go Shift Curve Extract, you move it here, go here, you scale it out, right, and you move it forward. So GUI, move it forward here, okay, like this, right? And then what you can do, you can keep slicing it. So, you know, let's just go here to turn on the cyclic, and you can keep slicing this this element here, right? And then here, for example, we could have more cuts like this, right? V for what do you call this thing, array, and there you go. And then we can just add, you know, loops just to secure this and improve the shielding, right? So boom, and you got very different type of shielding for the gun. And you know, so you can change things very easily if you don't like something, because it's just a blockout, right? And then you can just keep building on this shape, you know, as long as you want, and keep adding new elements, keep adding cuts, etc. Right? You can start adding stuff here in the middle, for example. So let me just save it because I don't want it to crush. So here, for example, what we could do is grab one of these and, you know, shift curve extract and press S to scale it, to smooth it, I mean, GG, move it in here, or GY, and then the radius, right? So shift, Control A, visual to mesh, and the radius. And the cool thing about blockouts, guys, is that, you know, this doesn't have to be the ultimate, you know, what you call them, the ultimate version of it. Just scale it in so it's behind this shell. There we go. A little bit more. There. Right? And it's here. And you can start building on the ship so easily, okay? Here, for example, we could get another cut. So we could create a cut here. Just for the fun of it, you know. Boom, right? And, you know, here we could start adding some elements as well. We could, for example, slice this top bit off. Okay, or we could create something like this here, you know, kind of like a bit at the end. Press B for bevel, scroll at X and slice it. And you're gonna have this bit in the end, and this one separately. So we're just gonna add some bevel to it. And you're gonna have a separation at the back. This one maybe it's a bit too high because it sort of aligns with the top here, so we can drop it down. Somewhere here is going to be a little bit more room. This part here could be cut as well, so we could just, you know, slice it open like this. So like I said, you could just, you know, keep playing with this. It's basically endless. But if you get stuck, my advice would be to just go ahead and look for some references, and you know, then keep going, because there's no point of sort of getting stuck. So if you really get stuck, which happens quite often, guys, you know, it's normal to get stuck, okay? Just don't panic. Just calm down, look for references, you're gonna be fine. So let's just grab these here. And EM macro, you know. Boom, right? And there you go. Very easy blockout. Here probably we would need some kind of a support for these cables or whatnot. Maybe we could run them differently. Maybe we could run them here to the top, or maybe here even, you know, will look better. So we could change it from the bottom. We could, you know, try to run them here like this. So we could remove these, right? And we could Shift Alt C, create a cable. You know, this is a good thing about blockouts, is you can always change stuff, okay? No one tells you that it's permanent. So maybe this looks better, right? We just have to move things a little bit, okay? So, you know, GX, move it in here, and grab this one and R, Y, and rotate it outside. Maybe like this, right? And shorten this one here. Something like this. This could be a little bit closer, to be honest. Boom, right? And copy to the other side. Maybe that's gonna look better. Maybe here would be even better, you know, going this way, like this. But anyway, you know, you can just keep trying and see what works for you, what doesn't. It's all about trial and error. If you don't like something, you can always remove it, because this is still a blockout. And now when you go too far with details and you're gonna start, you know, working too heavily on one element, you cannot start committing to it, and that's a problem, because you can't really change it that easily, okay? So don't commit to your elements, you know, too quickly, because then you're gonna get stuck, you know, and there's no turning back, which is something you want to avoid really, okay? You don't want to get stuck on, you know, on your blockout too early into the blockout stage, because blockout is supposed to be rather generic and sort of, you know, very flexible, so you can change things about. Anyway guys, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Give us a like and sub if you did, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.